As you said, my name is Michael Plastern. The reason I'm out here is that in any discussion or argument about Back to the Future, I'm the guy who can say, hey, I wrote the book on Back to the Future. Because I did. And who's got my book here? All right, good for you. The rest of you, we'll talk later. So let's get started. You know, they say my guests need no introduction, but I'm going to anyway because they wouldn't know when to come out otherwise. So our first guest is everything Back to the Future. Without him and Bob Zemeckis, none of this would have happened, and all of us would fade away gradually. So if there's a problem in the space-time continuum, hang on. No, we're good. So please welcome writer, producer, creator, Mr. Bob Gale. Our next guest is, you know her from things like Space Camp, Caroline in the City, Switched at Birth. I mean, she does everything. She is lovely. She is our density. She is Miss Leah Thompson.
Look at all those people.
There's a lot of people out here. Okay, I think you know our next guest. And you know what? This man has said the words Great Scott to us so many times. How about we give him one? As I introduce him, one big, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Great Scott!
Mr. Christopher Lloyd.
He's not tall enough to sit on the high chair.
That's what they told me. So, all right, one more person. Five-time Emmy winner, Family Ties, Sin City, Doc Hollywood, Secret of My Success. He may not have been the first, but he is the one true, only Marty McFly, Mr. Michael J. Fox. Is for Donald Trump. Sorry, that's a different comic convention. Let's go way, way back, when things are just getting started. And, you know, in movies, when you hear a director or someone do a video commentary, they always say that the star of the movie is the only person that they ever considered and wanted. And in this case, it happened to be true, because Michael was the first person they wanted to play Marty McFly. Bob?
This is true. Bob Zemeckis and I were big fans of Family Ties. We saw that Michael J. Fox had the best comedy timing of anybody on TV, especially anybody his age, and we knew he would be the perfect Marty McFly, except there was just one problem. He was on Family Ties. And when we approached the producer of the show, Gary David Goldberg, about seeing if he would permit us to get Michael off of the show to do our feature film, he did read the script. He was very, very effusive about how much he loved the script, to the extent that he said, the script is so good I can never let Michael read it because Michael will hate me for the rest of his life by saying, no, you can't do this movie. Michael was carrying Family Ties at the time. Meredith Baxter Birney, his co-star, was pregnant, and so Michael had the lion's share of the work. And Gary said, sorry guys, no can do. We understood that, and so we began a massive search for another Marty McFly.
But even though Michael couldn't do it, Back to the Future still crossed your path in some way.
Oh yeah, I was in my first memory of Back to the Future is
I was in a trailer in Pasadena doing a movie where I had a snout on and yak hair on my face, and I was drinking my lunch through a straw because I had all this prosthetics on as a werewolf. And I was saying, why am I? They told me they were scouting locations for a Steven Spielberg film in the neighborhood we were shooting in, and I just thought, wow, why am I a werewolf when I could be in a movie like that? And I heard Crispin Glover was in it. I knew Crispin. I thought, fuck Crispin Glover. This Spielberg movie, I'm a werewolf. And it just happened that as time went on, I didn't know anything about the film, and Gary pulled me into his office around Christmas time and said that he had this conversation with Bob and Steven earlier in the year and asked about my availability, and he said I wasn't available and didn't tell me about it because he didn't want to hurt, make me upset. And I said, that's fine. He said, now that they need you to replace the actor they hired. And he gave me the script in an envelope. He said, read the script. Tell me if you want to do it. And I picked up the script and I kind of went like this. I'm like, that's the best script I've ever read. But like 2 weeks later, I was in a parking lot in Pomona, Puente Hills with flames running through my legs.
Now, back at the beginning, Leah, when you went in for Lorraine, to read for Lorraine, I mean, obviously, it was a no-brainer for young Lorraine. Beautiful, perky, lovely woman. But I think part of what got you the job was your interpretation of the 47-year-old Lorraine. And where does somebody at your age at the time come up with that inspiration? How do you channel that character?
I think I made like a composite of my grandmother, Reva, and my best girlfriend when I was growing up, her mother. And for some reason, I just really understood the character. And I mean, of course, I read the part, and I was like, this is the greatest part ever. Because actually, the young Lorraine was actually really hard to play. You might, at the time, in the 80s, it was hard to kind of come up with that kind of innocence and that kind of horny innocence of the 50s. It really was. I mean, it wasn't really me, I don't think.
Horniness.
That was easy, but the innocent part was hard. And so the characters were, incredible, and I just felt so in touch with both of them. I mean, it was a lot of work, but I don't know how I got the part that...
You were damn good.
I wanted to hear that!
And if I remember correctly, you had a very special cameraman recording that audition, didn't you?
Yeah, the audition, I would remember that Steven Spielberg was running the giant video camera for the audition, and it was, actually, he's such a lovely man. I actually felt really comfortable, and I have really amazing, warm feelings about that audition. I mean, it was so much tension, or it was like a screen test. It was so much tension, it should have been terrifying, but I remember it quite wonderfully. Wow, that's a blessing. Thank you, Steven Spielberg.
And Mr. Lloyd,
Yes.
we heard the story that originally when you got the script, you pretty much tossed it, and then decided that you would go in for the meeting, but you weren't particularly clear on the script, and it was the meeting with Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale that totally convinced you to do the role of Doc. What was it about that meeting? What did they say to you? Did they have threatening notes, or?
No, I kind of dismissed the whole idea of doing it. I was doing a little independent film somewhere in Mexico, and I wanted to go back to New York and come to LA, and I didn't really think things were going that well. I should go back to my roots. So I was looking back to LA, so I tossed it. One of my really most memorable career movies. Then somebody that was around at the time said that one of my mantras is never leave any stone unturned, check everything out, which I always used to do. So I thought, okay, I'll go back and meet the Bobs. And I was totally convinced they didn't have to do much persuasion. I just felt I was in good hands. Great script. Bob Zemeckis seemed wonderful. Also, I just caved.
God.
Okay, so everything's going on, and Michael, even though you weren't there, was Back to the Future still somewhere in your mind? Because, you know, you're in Hollywood and you hear about movie shooting.
I moved on. I mean, I'd gone back to Family Ties, and I hadn't thought about it, because I never directly connected. To me, I never knew that there was any interest in me, so, you know, I wanted to play Gandhi, but they weren't looking for me. I was ready for any job, but I wanted to do a film, and so it was really, when Gary mentioned it to me again, it completely gone, oh yeah, that's the one with Crispin. Crispin didn't get fired, did he? so I was happy about that, and
That's another conversation.
but it was just an amazing mitzvah. It was just a great thing that happened to me, and I'm really grateful. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, thank you guys, you had the talent.
You know, and I'll just preface this by saying Eric Stoltz was and still is a terrific actor. He's a brilliant actor. And it was just a matter of what we like to call creative differences.
In fairness, I couldn't have played the heroin hero in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so there you go.
Believe me that. He was like psychotically brilliant. He's a transcendent actor. He's really amazing. So they just needed a goofball. And so they got me.
But I think what's interesting is the first scenes that Michael, you were there for, were in the parking lot of the Winnie Hills Malls, and Chris, you were there obviously, and that was the last scene you had done with Eric. So all of a sudden, one night you're working with Eric Stoltz, and a couple nights later you're working with Michael Fox, and you're doing the same dialogue. What was going through your head?
Well, I wasn't aware that Eric Stoltz wasn't quite making it. You know, nobody told me that. I don't think anybody knew there was going to be this sudden transition. And then about 1 a.m. in the shopping mall in Industrial City, we gathered for lunch, 1 a.m. lunch. And then everybody was told to come to a certain place. And Spielberg was there, and other people in the suits, and Bob Zemeckis got up and announced that this change was being made. And I was stunned. I had no anticipation. And my first concern was very self-centered. I just thought I struggled to make my scene work for 6 weeks, and now I have to go back and hope that I can match myself for another 6 weeks. That was my biggest concern. But Michael stepped in, and I just felt there was a chemistry that was never had to be worked for. In all 3 episodes, when we were together, it was all there. You know,
Because we weren't all there.
we were well matched.
We were above the same.
So, and things clicked in a way that I wasn't aware that there was anything lacking, but then I realized this was a good move.
I know you probably were ordering to jump in, but I want to say one thing about Chris is that there's a thing in film business and in storytelling called exposition, where you have to get out the facts. You know, if it's a fantasy film, you have to say, these are the rules. This is how this is going to work. And it's really thankless stuff. I mean, nobody wants to fill out the pipe. No one wants to get the pipe. No one wants to lay the pipe and get all the exposition out there and get all the explanations of how things work and the rules of the film. But Chris did that brilliantly. He made it an art form. He made it like, this model is crude. and I was just astounded. I was just saying, this guy lays pipe, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. He's a genius at it, and that's why the film worked. Ultimately, because there's so many rules you had to understand, and so many nuances that you had to pick up on, And because of Chris, we all got it. We all got it. It slicked us in an entertaining way, and it was just brilliant. And amazing.
So Michael, in that parking lot, you know, the few days before they had dressed you and shaved you and done everything to put you ready, did you have a moment just to sort of step outside yourself and say, what the heck am I doing here? How did this happen?
Well, I knew I had to do the show in the daytime, film test daytime, Back to the Future, and I remember calling my mom and telling her that Stephen and Bob had asked me to do this film, and I was going to do a big film, and I was going to do Back to the Future at the same time, and Family Ties at the same time, and she said, well, it's too much. You're going to wear yourself out. I said, Mom, forget about it. I mean, I'm doing this. And then I just threw myself into it, and I didn't have time to really think about it too much because I was doing both shows and sleeping 3-4 hours a night, and it just was a word.
And Leah, much in the same way as Chris, the last scene that you had done with Eric was also the first scene you did with Michael, with Marty waking up in young Lorraine's bedroom. What was that like in terms of the transition?
Well, it was such a different scene, and they were kind of talking about using some of the coverage. Sometimes they would use the coverage that you've already shot with Eric, and that was really upsetting to me because it was such a different experience acting with him than it was, you know, that scene was a completely different scene. So I think I convinced them to shoot my coverage. Yeah, most of my coverage was all done. And, you know, it was just, it was amazing because what I find interesting about seeing the movie is the different styles of acting. Like, we're all very stylized. There's none of that kind of like super hyper naturalistic acting that was maybe more popular coming from the 70s. We were all very stylized, and Eric was trying to do a different style that just didn't match. And so when Michael came in, he just like clicked in so beautifully, and all the comedy just worked so beautifully, and it had been really kind of hard, you know what I mean? It was like, ugh, you know, and you could feel that, and so it was really kind of interesting to do the same scene with two different actors completely.
I'm cheap and easy. That scene, doing that scene with you was one of the highlights of the movie for me. That you were so amazing. The way you just came forward, and it allowed me to be in my underwear and scramble around and be freaked out and make the connection, and you just, I mean, I do all that work and I come back here and you'd be there. You'd just be there pressing Lorraine, coming at me. And it was natural. It was just so great. I loved it. I didn't think about the styles of the different actors. I mean, there's so many good actors in Hollywood, and all this, everybody, and I just kind of said, this is great, because wherever I turn, someone's going to give me something to work with, because they're all so brilliant.
Okay, well, we're going to fast forward. You did the movie. It's done, and it's ready to come out. And, you know, you can get a feel when you're making the movie of how it is and how you hope it is, but you never really get a sense of what it's going to do out in the world. What was the first sense that you guys got that this movie was a tremendous hit?
It got panned by the LA Times. Remember that? It did.
That's the first
It got
it did.
panned by the LA
A
Times.
couple of TV critics in LA trashed it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it felt like a snowball. I mean, first of all, when they decided that they were going to push, you know, we had to wrap, and the movie came out. How long after the wrap?
The movie was in theaters 9.5 weeks after we wrapped principal photography. And we ruined post-production schedules for every other movie for years and years, because the studio guys say, hey, those guys did it on Back to the Future. Why can't you get it in theater in 10 weeks? We're giving you an extra half a week here.
When they did that, I could feel that obviously the studio was really excited about it. What about you guys?
I was just hoping we had a good opening night,
Yeah.
and that it had been run. And looking back on it now, it's
This is
Phenomenal that we're all sitting here talking about it.
apologized for it, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I was in London doing Family Ties Goes to London, which was an epic. and the movie's opening in the States, and there was a screening for it, and I got a call from my agent who said he saw the movie. My first instinct was I said, I'm sorry, I'll be better next time. I was out of my element. I didn't know it. He said, no, trust me, it's good. You'll like it. And then I came back after it had been open. I didn't go to the premiere. I was completely being chased by Meredith Baxter Birney around London. And I came back and I went by the Cinerama Dome one day, and there was lines around the Cinerama Dome is a big theater in Hollywood, and it just lines around the building. And I just thought, wow, my life is going to change. And it did.
It was already started to blossom. Alex Keaton was no slouch.
But there's a different thing. I mean, you have TV celebrity, and it's great. People go in, you go into their living rooms, and you go into their bedrooms, and their bathrooms, and their kitchens, and they have familiarity with you. It's kind of like they come up and clap you on the back and say, "How you doing?" When you're in a film where that it's something that captivates people and captures their attention and their imagination, you become more of a thing to them. They project that different energy onto you, and it's beautiful. It's really nice, but it's a responsibility, and you realize that people say, "What's the secret to a long career, to success?" Is realize that the success of celebrity doesn't belong to me; it belongs to you. I mean, you own it, and it's something I'm grateful for every day that I'm allowed to do what I do because these guys let me do it. And thank you.
So not long after the movie came out, Universal came back and said, we'd like to make part 2. What do you think? And I think Bob and Bob said that they would only do it if you guys would do it. And the sentiment was returned.
Yeah. No, it was very exciting. I mean, because we didn't sign sequel deals. You didn't even think about it.
We weren't thinking about a sequel. Everybody always, if the only time you saw the movie the first time was on VHS, you'd think that it said to be continued at the theater, but it did not. We just put that on the VHS tape to announce that there was going to be another one. But when Bob and I made the first movie, that ending was a satisfying ending if there is no sequel. And as we've said many times, if we knew we were going to do a sequel, we would have never had Jennifer get in the car. Because when it came time for us to figure out what the sequel was going to be, we kept going, Jennifer, what the hell are we going to do with Jennifer?
Put her on the board. Put her on the porch, I'm saying, you're on the board. It's so... And you wake up again and say, what happened? We're on the porch.
But what you didn't know when you agreed to do Back to the Future 2 was that ultimately you were going to end up doing Back to the Future 2 and 3 at the same time. How far into the process did that happen, and what was your reaction when they said, we'd like to ask you to do one more favor for us?
How far into the process was it?
Let's see, we started in pre-production in, I think it was summer, it was about the summer of 88, I guess. We kept writing and rewriting, and Bob Zemeckis said, we got to go to the Old West in the end of this movie. We got to do this gag with the train.
You were talking to me about that. The Old West.
What's that?
I remember you talking to me about the Old West.
Right. And I tried to jam all this stuff into one screenplay, and it was really too much for one movie. And so I said to Bob one day, let me write this script the way, because we're introducing all these new characters towards the end of the movie, Clara and Mad Dog Tannen, and all the people that are in the Old West. We've never seen them before. Let me write it so that these characters get a chance to breathe and be introduced, and it was a 210-page script. And at that point, I said, we got enough material here to make two movies. Universal didn't want to hear about that because I actually floated the idea to them, you know, we can make 2 movies right now. And they said, no, just make the one. The CEO of Universal was pissed off that we weren't going to have the movie out, part 2 out in time for the summer of 1989. And he thought we were just blowing smoke up his ass, which, you know, we had done before.
How can you as a man deliver the script to me?
Oh, yeah. He said, this is, how can you as a man deliver this script to me that's the most expensive movie Universal will ever make? And we said, well, we think it'll make money. He said, just make one movie. But that's where the word started getting around. Well, could there be 2 movies here? And as we kept, I kept rewriting it, we kept rebudgeting it. Finally, it was clear that we had the conversation with Sheinberg later, where I actually had our production manager budget 2 movies instead of just one. And we said to Sid, hey, we can make one movie for $55 million, or we can make 2 movies for $75 million. What would you like to do, Sid? He said, all right, we'll make 2. And that was in like December of '89, yeah. Yeah, we started shooting in December of '88, we started shooting in February '89.
December of '89. So, you guys had to endure, except for you, Michael, in part 1, you guys had to endure a lot of prosthetics. And that changed even more for you, Leah, in part 2. Chris, I was sort of half and half. And Michael, you finally had to get into the chair.
Yeah.
Which is the one thing you escaped on part 1.
Yeah, it was a revisiting Teen Wolf. And they put this stuff on with airplane glue, take it off the gasoline. It's just, I mean, it would rub our skin raw. The prosthetics, but.
Plus you got to get dragged too.
Yeah. Well, and in part 2, you got those gigantic. Yeah.
Good times were had by all.
It's not
Real.
It's not harassment.
I actually remember. I remember the phone call that Bob and I had with you, where we called you up to say, this is what you're going to be doing in part 2. You're going to be playing Marty McFly, the way you played him in the first movie. You're going to be playing Marty McFly at age 47. You're going to be playing your son. And then we took that long dramatic pause. And you're going to be playing your daughter. And your response was, yes!
The boy's dream. See how it works. Yeah, I know by the guard when I got dragging, I went out to see how people would react to it. I came back and the guard was hitting on me.
I still have that wig if you want it back. Honestly, I have one wig.
That's cool. I have the boobs if you want it back.
And Chris, what they did for you was because you had to be aged forward in part 1 to play the older Doc Brown.
Yeah.
So in part 2, when you bring Marty to the future, Doc has undergone a little procedure So you had your one chance to get rid of all that makeup, but as Michael said before, you had to deliver a lot of information. So
A lot of what?
information in the scene, dialogue, as you were removing.
Yeah, that's perhaps my most satisfying take in my life. I had to wear the old age makeup, which was all this latex stuff, all over my eyelids, all over the place. And I had to speak a lot of lines in front of Doc Brown's typical, explaining the universe speeches. And remove all this makeup at the same time. I can't see it like down here, and as I'm talking, lift it so that it comes off in one piece. And if it didn't work out, then I'd have to go back to makeup for another 2 hours, have it all reapplied, and we do it again. And miraculously, it worked in one take. And I
Well, I could sit here for hours talking to you guys, but they don't care out there, and we want to give them a chance to ask you questions.
I was wondering what the most unexpected thing that happened in 2015 would have been when you were filming in 1980. Yeah.
You mean what happened in 2015 that we didn't expect?
Yeah.
Cell phones for me, like the crazy cell phones.
Yeah, this little brain you carry around that
Yeah.
knows everything in the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Think about flying cars, and flying cars, and I said, screw flying cars. We have a thing that you just go. Who was the queen of some bizarre country in 1829? And they'll tell you. We used to have arguments where we'd say, well, I'll prove it to you, and a few weeks later, you'd be there in the dictionary. And like there were times when I'll call my mom later, and she won't know where I am. But now they get tracking devices, and I know where my kids are all the time. I had Uber notices, and I know my kids are going somewhere. It's just amazing. And the other thing that I didn't expect is that I'd have a worse hairline than Marty McFly did.
Sorry to interrupt, because I have one more question. Michael, you and Chris have gotten together on camera before, but in Spin City and in the Michael J. Fox show. But you had not appeared as Marty until the night of the Jimmy Kimmel show on October 21st. Was that the first time you put back the orange vest?
Yeah, the first time I put the Marty Dragon on again. But it was so fun because it was with Chris, and it was just so cool to get out of that DeLorean again. But my sciatic and I was like trying to clear the door. I was really geriatric. It was really cool, and it was just great to share the moment with Chris. And we did a commercial together too. We did this kind of extended commercial for a car company, and it was just great. We've had a real renaissance of our friendship. Because when we were working on a movie, we didn't talk that much. I'd see him at the hot dog thing at the craft service table. He'd get a hot dog, and then he'd get popcorn or chili or rib tamales or whatever. We talked a little bit about the scene, but we just were so busy working. So in these events have allowed us to develop our friendship, which is really great.
And Chris, was it good to have Marty by your side as Doc that time?
Oh, it was fabulous. The Jimmy Kimmel show, getting in the DeLorean backstage,
And the smoke.
drive out with all the steam, the light, the hoopla, which I assume was a surprise for everybody but us. And it was just a real kick. I mean, we had this great scene together. It was wonderful. And then the times that we've done commercials and stuff for the car, each time was like a wonderful reunion. It was great.
Kiss me.
I feel like that's chemistry.
Okay, how about you, young lady?
Hi, this is for all of you. Do you like the technology in the Back to the Future technology in Rio 2015?
Leah, what about you?
Well, I don't know. I never really thought that there would be flying cars. I think people like somebody in a uniform, you know, they want the doors here and doors there. I think people are scared to fly, so I never thought there would be flying cars. So I think I appreciate the technology now, but I know that you guys were trying to make it fun. It wasn't like you were trying to predict the future. You were
That's right.
You were trying to make it funny and
We were
bright.
trying to make it funny. We were basing all of the technology on riffs on the scenes that were in the first movie. So people say, well, where did hoverboards come from? Well, they came about because we wanted to do a version of the skateboard chase in 2015, and it couldn't just be another skateboard chase. It had to be something a whole lot more futuristic than that. So, as Michael said, I think all of us would be lost today without our cell phones. We've come to rely so much on them. It's interesting, you think about when in 2045, when they make a movie about today, and you have a street scene, everybody's just going to be kind of hunched over one another.
Yeah, I noticed when I first moved to New York in the early 90s or late 80s, every block you'd be on, there'd be 13 people with a cigarette. Everyone having a smoke. And now you don't see anybody with a cigarette, but you see the same people with the cell phones. And it's like just addicting. It's really funny, but it's been a real change. Like if you showed a scene from 1989, it would be completely different than what it is now. And it's just that subtle.
Hi. You're one of my favorite movies that I ever liked. And if you could all relive the making of all three of the movies, would you and why?
Relive it? Relive it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy. You too?
What's this thing about heavy?
The answer has to be yes, because if we didn't go back and make the movies the way they turned out, none of us would be here today.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, that would be cool.
Sir.
I have a question for Michael, but first I want to thank you for the work your foundation's doing. My father had Parkinson's, and I'm a participant in one of your studies, and it's great
Oh,
work.
thank you. Great.
And I really enjoyed watching you on The Good Wife, and I want to know, will we be seeing Channing again?
Well, I don't know. The show is off the air now. I had a great time doing that. It was great because I wasn't looking for a job, and they came to me and asked me to do this 6 years ago, to do a couple episodes, and so I did. And then I came back and did some more, and then I came back and did some more the next year. It's hard to believe I did 6 years of those shows, about 5 or 6 episodes a year, and it was really great. I mean, Julianne Margulies is spectacular. And it was a great thing. So if in some way they reincarnated the character in some version of whatever they do, the Kings, Michelle and Robert King, the producers, I'd be happy to do it. It was really fun. I love, excuse me, the kids here, but I love that proof that people with disabilities can be assholes too. Not all soft piano music and like, oh, poor them. I mean, they're capable of anything that anyone else is capable of. He was
One more question. Sir?
Hi, I really loved all your movies, and I think all of you were great actors. My family's grown up watching, I've grown up watching. I wanted to know why you were making the movies. When you went from the 80s to the 50s, from the 50s to the Wild West, which one was the most fun for all of you to make together?
I like the 50s.
You like cowboy. You
I
like
like the Western stuff.
it's great stuff. He was so great.
Well, you had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who asked you?
What? No, nothing.
I like the 50s. I like the Johnny B. Good thing was just so funky. And the curly dress was just so, so sexy. I mean, it's the biggest dress I've ever seen, but somehow it was like just made him more sexy.
Thank you, everybody. Let's please give it up for our wonderful cast.
This video is sponsored by the Crazy Kings of Toys. Check them out for all your toy needs and find out why they are so crazy. Find them at Amazon, eBay, Bricklink, and Facebook. Links are in the description. For more Toxic Pop, visit our website at toxicpop1.wixsite.com/toxicpop. Email us at toxicpop1@gmail.com and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/toxicpop1 and Instagram at instagram.com/wearetoxicpop. Links are in the description.